I'm realizing I've got this microphone here. It's not even plugged into my phone. It's plugged in somewhere else. So it does look professional, but actually it's not giving any further sound quality. Today, I want to talk about this moment that we are about to meet, which is halfway through the year. And this is a really important moment to check and to not second guess it. And I think about this moment being that time when you are putting a baby in the bath. And you have to, in those early days, you know, when you've got no core strength and, oh my goodness, it's just all so much. And then it's like, oh my goodness, I'm now going to have to like hold my slippery baby in some water. And like, are they going to be cold? Where do I put them? I can't put them on the loo. And like, it's all a whole thing. And then there comes this moment where you have to test the water. And sometimes when you've got a bath going on, you can put your elbow or your hand, I'm not a baby expert by the way, I just have two of my own, in the water, and you're also wanting to make sure that you have a sense of what all the water is, because you don't want to fluke it. You don't want to just go, oh well, we're fine. You cannot wing these situations. And this is how I want you to see this point in the year. Most people just keep going. They'll probably even add even more projects to their never-ending list. Even though some of the projects that they set at the beginning of January, they're still on that to-do list. They're still festering away. Maybe you can relate, but that moment where they'll just think, oh, I'll just add more things. And what they miss is this opportunity to check in, to really see what the temperature of the water is, of your life, your business, your money, your relationships, your health, your well-being, your sleep, your joy, your fun, whatever it is that you are optimizing for. And alongside that, there comes a bit of discomfort sometimes, because when we open ourselves up to really seeing what's going on, sometimes the answers that we get are uncomfortable. They're not desirable. They're not the things that they want. Sometimes it's like you have to take that sharp inhale of breath, like, wow, oh, okay, that's where I am then. So we've got work to do. We've all had those meetings, whether it's with other people on different projects, life projects, business projects, but also having that meeting with yourself. Most people don't want to do it because they are so accustomed to just keeping going, just keep busy, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. But if you can allow yourself and trust yourself to stop and pause and really allow yourself to be in that puddle sometimes of discomfort, it's always going to help you. It's always going to give you answers. It's always going to give you truth. And when we have the truth of the situation, when we have the absolute reality, that is the most value, because we can keep going. Of course we can. Most of us, you know, like we as millennials, it's like we grew up in the 80s and 90s, like we had to make it happen. We were quite self-sufficient from being a young age. We didn't have this helicopter parenting. We were like, if you want something, well, just work hard. Just keep doing that. Get your exams, get your head down, like don't question things. And I'm not saying that that is not the right thing to do or is the right thing to do. I think with every kind of decade, every style, everything, you know, there's always some things to be taken from it and some things where you're like, I'm absolutely not doing that with my children. But one of the ways that skill set of just cracking on and just doing it allowed me to do a lot of stuff. It allowed me to try things, to experiment, to get things done, to have an idea, to make it a reality. But what it didn't do was really think about shortcuts or ways that I could effectively do something. And when you are in that moment of just working hard and just getting your head down, you don't see the stuff. And yet when people go, how are you doing? How's things? And you're like, yeah, I'm really busy. And that looks impressive somehow. People are like, whoa, she's really busy. She's doing stuff. She's going places. She's that kind of person who X, Y, and Z. And what I want you to do is to trust in another way. To really take some time away from the busyness and consider what it is that you want. And that might have changed from the beginning of January, from the beginning of this year. You may be opening up new ways, new different things that you want to do. And that's okay as well. We are supposed to evolve as human beings. We are supposed to do all of those things. So you didn't get it wrong. You didn't mess up 2026. You just changed your mind. You just went in a new direction. And that is okay. I also want you to once again sit in that uncomfortable feeling, maybe. Or it may not be uncomfortable. It may be just emotional. It may be a connected feeling, maybe a grounded feeling. When society is telling us all the time what we need a formula, we need a thing, this thing is the next step, you need to buy this, the course. And I get the irony. I get the irony that I am somebody who has things for sale and I have services that you can buy. But one of the things that I will always say to clients, and I had a client inquiry the other day, and she was somebody that I knew, and she said, I don't really know what I want. And I said, well, I would like you, before we proceed, to give it some thought and take some time to do that, because that is an important part of the process. And in this culture and society right now, and the way that we are marketed to, and the way that things are presented, like the one thing, the one hook, the formula that you've been waiting for, the exact solution, even though they don't even know what you're trying to solve for, we assume that that's how we're going to get the answers. And so we just buy and consume more. It's like, is this the thing? Is this the thing? Is this the thing? You know, when somebody's like running through the house, I see it with other members of my family where they're going through drawers like a Labrador. They're going under the bed, or they're like going, where's my thing? And it's like, it's there. And you just need to pause and stop and check in and see what's happening in the moment. And if you do that, you'll see it right in front of you. And yet we celebrate and we acknowledge speed and big momentum and external things, when sometimes that quietness can bring the most clarity. I've spoken about this so much recently, about this big thinking time that I have in the morning. And I'm not saying it in a way of like, you just need to get up earlier. No, I mean, I didn't sleep for 7 years. My kids, I was actually saying to my friend Ben today, I was like, yeah, we didn't have sleepers. That was just not the case that we were in. So I wasn't just like, oh my goodness, I've got to get to the gym at 5 a.m. It was like, oh my gosh, another day. How am I going to function on so little sleep? But now they are 6 and 10, and they go to bed way much later, but they do sleep in a little bit. So that is my time in the morning, and naturally I'm an early riser. So I like that opportunity to go for a walk or a run and really have that quiet time for myself. And that for me is not just a walk. It's not just physical exercise. It's a way of connecting with myself once again. And you'll be surprised how many ideas, how many downloads, how many like, oh, that's what the thing is, come through in those moments. I would love you, finally, to think about this and be open to this opportunity. One of the reasons that you are maybe, and maybe why I'm not as well, making as much progress as we would like, is because there is not enough emotion attached to it, bubbling inside it at all times. And we think there is. We think there is that moment of like, well, of course I want to do it for my kids. Of course I want to make them proud. But the specificity of that intention is not clear enough. And I think back to those moments when, as an actor, you are looking at a script for the first time and you're like, what is my motivation? What's my objective? What's my intention here? And sometimes people try and play this big objection where it's like, I'm going to tell my husband how I really feel. And it's like, whoa, that's really difficult to do that. And so instead, what you might need to do is say, I'm going to tell the husband I'm leaving him. I'm going to tell him today. And suddenly when you do that in a script, it activates something. You're not doing this vague, like, I'm going to tell him what I think of him. You're actually carrying something out. And this is the thing in terms of emotion in goal setting. One of the things that I find so often is that people will come to me and they will say things such as, I feel like I've tried everything. I feel like I've done all of the courses. Like, they're almost like, how are you any different? And one of the things that I do with clients again and again is I help them to find that activation within themselves. An activation that is so powerful and vibrant and bright and compelling and energized that once you connect with it, you can't forget about it. You can't pretend it didn't exist, because it's like that moment, you're right there. I'm sure you will have had those moments in your life where you felt like life was like the full brightness was turned up. There are certain songs that I can hear and it takes me back to a time, or a food, or something sensory, a smell of somebody's perfume. I smelled like some Elnet hairspray the other day. I was like, whoa, I'm back in the Plowright Theatre in Scunthorpe in like 1991. Whoa, I can smell all that. And also probably the silk cuts, because all the mums used to smoke out the windows. Oh my God. I mean, talk about danger. But anyway, this is also why once you have that clear emotion, you don't have to wait for a perfect time or a moment in the diary or the 1st of January or the solstice or whatever it might be. I've had those moments where I've been in 5-star hotels or resorts or mastermind workshops or on Hampstead Heath, and I've been very intentional. Like, I've really set aside that time of like, now I'm going to think about what I want and I'm going to go through this process. And then there have been times where at 1 to 2 in the morning on a random Tuesday morning, I can't sleep and I can't stop thinking about this thing, and suddenly it wallops in and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Or sometimes I've had a moment where you've just had one of those awful, horrendous days, and that is your moment where you go, I cannot do that anymore. That could have been so much worse. I refuse to do that. That will never, ever happen again. Enough. No. And so once you have that kind of emotion activated behind your goals, behind that person, behind that version of you that you know is like right there, ready to come out, the emotion becomes the driver. So even on those days where you're like, I don't really feel like it today, you know, those low level days, you're like, oh, I'm a bit tired, oh, it's raining outside, I get it all the time. That's where my head wants to go. However, when I have this emotion, when I have this reason, this impetus, this why, it propels me forward. And it gives me that energy that I need just to turn down. It's like, well, I live in the UK. It rains all the time. But I've got work to do. I've got things to do today. I can't just like sit looking out the window like, can't believe it's still raining. And I certainly can't like continue to have small talk conversations about how bad the weather it is. We know it is. I don't live in the Caribbean. I live in London. It's grey a lot of the time. It's actually sunny today, which is a great thing. I want you to take a moment and schedule some time, if you can't do it right now, but to really think about what you want and think about what kind of emotion you need to activate in order to get you from where you are right now to where you want to get to. I always think about those people running the London Marathon. And often these people have never run a marathon before. I mean, some of them probably haven't even run before. But as soon as they have that person on their bib, you can see it. They're running for that person. They're running for that situation. They're running in honor of somebody's name. Suddenly, they get energy in their legs. Suddenly, they train. Suddenly, they go out even when it's raining. Because this why, this emotion, is way bigger than the excuses and the niggles and maybe not and I don't want to. If you would like help and support, come on over to my shop. There are two things which I think you might like to reflect on things. I have a course called Activate and Illuminate, which is a really great one for going through all the areas of your business, your personal brand, your services, your offerings, like where you're going next. That would be a really great one to do. Or if you just want to do some good old-fashioned self-development growth work, come and join the 30 times 30 club. You can access it with a tenner off at the moment. So it's under 20 quid, which is an absolute no-brainer. It's about 60p a day. So if that sounds really good, go to nikkiraby.com/30, and that's the 30. Thank you for watching today. I hope this has stirred something in you, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.